Hello, hello. Welcome to our brand new episode of the Ellie Talks podcast, your insight into the Ellie.Connect textile and fashion ecosystem. The Ellie Talks are designed to inform, inspire, and connect people on sustainability, digitalization, and industry collaboration. Each of our guests bring a very inspiring story, a personal story, full of insights and learnings. And if you listen carefully, these can help you make an impact as well. Our guest today will do no less, I'm sure, because he will talk about my favorite topic, which is the topic of innovation, and in particular, the importance of investing time and resources into making innovation work. Because if you do, really great projects can come out of it. Projects that can play an important role for the future of our organizations. So, Maurits Vandeputte, very welcome today in our studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very happy to have you here today. Yep. Before we deep dive into more serious matters and the topic of innovation today, can you maybe tell us a little bit more about who you are, what drives you in life?
Who I am. Maurits Vandeputte. I am born and raised in Kortrijk, Wevelgem. 32 years old today. It's my birthday. So
today?
Yes, today.
Happy birthday to you.
32 years old, active in a family company for 8 years. After I studied industrial engineering in Leuven, and then I started working in the company. So my day-to-day job is really an engineering job, so I'm going to tell something today about innovation.
Okay. We're looking forward to that. So you are an innovation manager as a function at Valvan, your family business. And in your signature, it mentions two logos, one of Valvan and one of Valtech Group. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about the two businesses and what you do exactly?
Yes, of course. Valvan is part of the Valtech Group. Valtech Group is a group of 15 companies, small to medium enterprises. We are with around 450 people, most of them technical people. And we have 15 companies in the group, of which Valvan is one. Valvan is one of the bigger companies in the group. And this is mainly my day-to-day job at Valvan, but I also do some smaller tasks at Valtech. So
okay, that's great. So you're already a small ecosystem of companies in
yes.
your family group.
Yeah.
So you are third generation, if we are correct?
Yes. My grandfather started the company as a side hustle with some friends he had in time, and then my father joined him in the company, and later on his brother.
Okay.
And now I'm active together with my brother in the company. And
okay.
We also have a niece that started recently, so yeah.
Okay.
Third generation is active.
Nice to hear. And how did you yourself roll into it? Did you start immediately in the family business, or?
Yes, I started directly after my studies at the company as a commissioning engineer. So I traveled the world, starting up new lines, new machines, with the focus on automation software. So it was a great learning school. I did that for, I think, 6 years. We traveled a lot, and it's a good learning school to have a lot of experiences abroad. We traveled to Turkey, to Thailand, China, all these countries. It was really a nice experience and learning school.
Okay, what's your favorite country?
I think Turkey was really...
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Nice
really
to hear.
cool,
so you feel with what is happening now in
yes.
Turkey, I
yes,
can
yes.
assume. Okay, let's zoom into a little bit into your title, your function. You're an innovation manager, which is kind of a profile which not a lot of companies have. You mentioned that innovation is really embedded into your company culture. Has this been something that has been there from the start, from the first generation, or was there always a function like an innovation manager, or how did that grow to, through the different generations and years? Is it something you created?
It's something I created, I think, yes, but it's the innovative culture has always been there. We are a project-oriented company, so every project we do for a customer has its own specific details that are optimized for a customer. So every project in its way is innovative, I think. So the culture was there, and but I created the job because we have the day-to-day business and everything that doesn't fit into the day-to-day business and has something to do with development. We put with the innovation team, and the innovation manager manages that. And so my responsibility to drive new technologies and optimize processes in the company, but also and mainly focused on development of new machinery, because that's what we do in Valtech, develop machines.
And what would your day-to-day job look like? Average day? I assume you're not doing podcasts every day.
No. Average day. I still long for an average day. I think it's we are a larger group today, but we are still a small company. So an average day does not really exist. We have a lot of commercial projects linked to the innovation team. So this puts some pressure and has some priorities that pop up. It's not that we have a planning and that we can just follow that planning 6 months up front, for example. It's more. It's also being agile as a team and adjust every day. So there is no average day. I still long for some average days. But they have not come yet. So.
Maybe you end up in accounting one day.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your innovations a little bit more in concrete. So Valvan is specialized in baling systems, sorting solutions for textiles, like you explained. Initially for the reuse as textiles, focus on manual sorting. And today you have the innovation of the Fibersort, where you really take that manual sorting to a next level. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that technology, the Fibersort technology?
Yes. So Fibersort, the goal for the Fibersort technology is to sort textiles based on fiber composition and color composition. So fiber composition, you can read the label in textiles, but most people remove the labels because they are annoying, and it's also very time consuming. And in the European countries, labor is expensive, so it's not possible to sort textiles on fiber composition by hand. So there, the need arose for development of a sorting technology, the Fibersort. And the machine can automatically sort. In the beginning, it was a manual process where an operator put something on the scanner and then it was processed. Today we have robots feeding the system. We have special machinery in development to pre-process all the textiles so that we can really build 24/7 plants that can sort a lot of textiles each year. But the main focus for Fibersort is on the non-rewearable textiles. So the textiles that cannot be reused, they have to be recycled. In the past, they were downcycled, and today we hope that they can be recycled into new textiles. That's a big dream, and I expect also your dream.
We have the same dream. We share the same ambition. And in the previous podcast, we already had a lot of talks about that as well. So can you tell something about the origin of the innovation? Is it something that really started from the market, from a consumer demand, or driven by I don't know, a supplier, or how did that work?
It's mainly driven by our customers, and we also prefer it that way because we want to avoid that we just develop for the sake of developing. That's not what we want to do. We want to develop what's useful for the market. So today the focus is on commercial projects that require some innovation. And it's the customer that has a need, and we try to fill it. We try to fill it by reusing existing technologies on the market, and we bring everything together to make something work. For example, Fibersort uses AI. We don't invent AI. We just use existing libraries, existing tools, existing scanners, cameras. We just make everything work for the customer, and that's how it is created. And mainly, it starts also by the we have very difficult with saying no to a question for a customer. If a customer asks something, some theories for companies are, you have to say no and have a focus. But if we had done that in the past, then we wouldn't have developed Fibersort and the other technologies we will talk about today. So it's innovation is a little, if you have a very strong focus, sometimes it's more difficult to innovate, and being a lack of focus can help to create innovative ideas, I think.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. First of all, I want to repeat again the market-driven innovation. I believe that's a very good approach, and just even one of my coaches advised just say yes to everything. You don't have to do everything at the end, but it gives you a lot of opportunities. So definitely in innovation, that's a relevant learning point, I think. Talking about the technology of the Fibersort, it helps. It plays a very important role in the transition towards circular economy in textiles and fashion. But has it also led to other innovations? So I know in the pre-screening you told a little bit about an automated book sorting machine.
Yes.
That makes me curious. Yeah. Can you tell something about that?
Yeah, with Fibersort we had our first experience in a difficult sorting task, because textiles is very diverse. And we got some experience with camera technologies, algorithms, and that led to, at one time, the development of an automatic book sorting machine. We had a customer in the US, a large group, focusing on second-hand textiles that has a big stream of second-hand books that are being sold in stores. And the pricing and sorting process was manual. So an operator took a book, Googled it online, and determined a good reselling price. So one time on the call, we were talking about that, and I explained, okay, maybe we can automate that and try to fetch the data online, so we can determine the best selling price with some online databases and connect that to the camera system. Maybe also put a robot to attach a sticker on it, and then automatically sort it into a lot of different bins. So today they just have an operator that can process 2,000 books per hour. Instead of tens of books per hour. So it's a big improvement. And it's also an interesting outcome was that they can really digitalize their knowledge, and it's not centralized in the head of the operator. So what do I mean by that? They saw, for example, an increase in average selling price of the books because they had an algorithm that they could optimize and fine-tune. And they also were better sorted, so it was not the decision which category a book was not biased. So it was the computer that made a decision, and one time it is set correctly in the database. It is always correctly sorted, so that improved their process also a lot. So they digitalized the knowledge inside the machine.
Wow, that's amazing to hear, and it's good to hear that innovation leads to other possibilities as well. Do you really feel that is what the innovation is about, creating opportunities and new possibilities as well?
Seeing opportunities, I think, and saying yes to something, and maybe bluff a little in the beginning phase, in the start phase, and then solve the technical shortcomings in the later phase. I think innovation is you have to see the opportunities. Not creating opportunities is it's not what I do. It's just seeing them and taking them, and of course the more you see opportunities, the better you are at recognizing new opportunities. And it leads to, if you can grasp an opportunity like Fibersort, it led to the book sorting, and the book sorting led to our Trimclean machine. So it's the more you do it, the better you become at it.
Okay, you mentioned Trimclean. Can you tell us a little bit more about that project as well?
Yeah, well, with the growing experience in the camera technology, we also had an idea that started 2-3 years ago, I think, where textiles are being sorted by fiber composition and color, and then they want to be recycled. But if they have to be recycled, you have to remove the labels and the buttons and the zippers, and that is a very costly process if you do it manually. So we wanted to automate that step because we want to lower the processing costs of recycling textiles. And the idea came up to cut the textiles into small pieces, and then with camera technology we recognize the buttons and the zippers, and we automatically remove it, and then we make a pure fraction that can be recycled. And today this machine is also operational at the first customer site in the Netherlands. So we are hopeful that the technology will be picked up in the future and can be a nice synergy with Fibersort, and it's a necessary equipment, I think, for the textiles to textiles recycling.
Wow, it sounds nice. So definitely we will be following that as well. A lot of those technologies are also targeted at new markets or new business models in early stages. I mean, I can imagine that in the beginning some eyebrows were raised when you talked about your innovations. How did you go about presenting those ideas?
Well, we always started from market pull. So the customer wanted something, we developed something, and then maybe we did a little extra every time. So then the risk was not too high. And we also had some research project funded by the European Union that helped us in the development phase. But in the beginning, there was always a lot of skepticism about new technologies. It will never work. It would never be accurate enough. But a lot of processes today are not perfect. People are not perfect. So if you can automate something as good as a manual process as it would an operator do, then you have replaced the operator. And if you can create technology, technology is never sick, is never tired, it's never annoyed, so it's always in full focus. So.
And you talk about presenting indeed your innovations towards the market. What about the internal presentation? Because of course when you have an enthusiastic customer about an innovation, do you find it easy to convince the internal team then to follow the transition from innovation to development phase as well?
Well, we are a family company, so in that way we are lucky. When I pitched the idea of Trimclean to my father, he told me it will never work. Don't put your time in it. I was young and naive, but today, 3 years later, I think we have the technology fully operational. It's working good, and so we have a new technology. And I think, it's sometimes hard to convince people, but it can be a strength of family companies, I think, because we see in the long term. I will be still be there in 20-30 years at Valvan probably. So for me, we don't need a payback of 2-3 years as would a private banker require, for example. So it's another timeline we have.
So even for the return on investment of a project, if it's linked to the value and the vision that you have with your family business, then it's easier to defend it. What I also found very powerful in your story is that you really think about the key assets you have at Valvan, the knowledge you already have, and how you can recuperate, reuse, recycle the knowledge into a new product as well. I think that's also a very strong way of innovation.
Yes. We always do. If we do a new project or new technology, we always start from an existing project that is fine-tuned a little bit to make it work for another project. So there's not always it's every innovation is a small step, and we don't take giant leaps. It's very hard to do that, and it's always an incremental an incremental improvement, I think. But if you do that every month, then you can develop a lot and make a lot of new technology and innovation.
And do you have a tip, for instance, for innovation managers who do not belong to a family business? Because I agree, from the long-term view, it's easy. Well, it's never easy to convince, but it's different. Do you have any tips about innovation managers who have external boards to convince about their innovations?
Well, I think start from the market pool. If you find a customer that's willing to go in your story, then it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Innovation does not have to be expensive always. If you can make it almost for free, then it's an easy decision, because we all have to pay the bills. As soon as the economics make sense, we all do it. So I think start from the market pool and that can help a lot to reduce the risk of setting up a new innovation in your company, I think.
Okay, thank you for that. So your innovations are typically also into textiles, and they're also characterized by the role they play into the transition towards more circularity, so more sustainability. Is that also an important driver in your family organization, sustainability?
Yes, but it's very important, sustainability. But we are mainly working in recycling, so it's there. So
it's in the nature already.
It's already in the nature. But sustainability is, of course, very important for us as a company. We have to believe in a project, otherwise we don't do it. We, as every company, I think in Belgium, we have limited resources, so you have to choose what you want to do, and you have to work on durable projects and durable technologies, I think.
Okay. So you spoke about Fibersort. If I remember correctly, it's about 10% of your revenue today. What are your projections for the future, or what do you hope that it will bring? Could it come faster, or what are your expectations for the coming years?
I expect it to be big because I put a lot of time in it.
Yeah.
I think it will be a big... It's textile sorting, of course. It's a niche market, so 10% of our turnover. It's not a lot of turnover, of course, but it's of course we expect it to grow, and I think we can easily double the size of the company if we have hundreds of people or maybe thousands of people working in factories that we build for our customers. If we can replace all those operators by automated machines, then we have a lot of budget to do that, and a lot of work to be done. But still a long way to go, of course. It's never easy. So if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have said in 5 years' time it will be big. Today I will say the same, I think.
I really hope and wish that it will become that way, indeed.
Yes.
When we talked about innovation, you talked about the market pool effect, but you also mentioned being part of a European project. How important for you are those type of research projects to be able to step outside of the company, meet people in different areas as well, and cross innovate? How important is that for you?
Well, it's important. It helps lowering the risks. You can get a budget for developments, but of course we are not a research institute. But it helps to put an extra step forward because today we develop, for example, picking robots to automate the Fibersort process completely. We have no customers today that want to buy that, so it's really necessary to have some funds. So it's you really need it to get some innovation done that is high risk, I think. And it also helps the larger projects with the partners. You have a lot of exposure, a lot of partners that work with you, the companies in the consortiums talk about each other, so you have a lot of spreading effect of what you do. So that's really interesting about these projects, I think.
Okay, good. Well, we're almost at the end of this episode. We also like to end with some concrete tips to the listeners. So we talked about innovation and the role of an innovation manager in a family business. Do you have any other advice to those companies, let's say the smaller companies, the SMEs that want to take next steps into innovation? How would you approach that?
I think making a plan is very important, and allocate resources. We also sometimes make the mistake that innovation is never urgent and it's easy to skip because there's always, they call it, I don't know if I can say it on the podcast, the shit of yesterday.
I have not heard that.
You can beep it out. So that's something we work hard on, to allocate the resources to innovation. If you have a plan, try to stick to it, because I learned in the last years that it's the first thing that can go if you have limited resources is the innovation. So if you allocate the resources, then you cannot not evade it, and that really helps. I think that's one of the largest tips.
Okay, so we love it when a plan comes together.
Yes, yes.
We know that quote. Okay, as a final question, Maurits, is there anything you dream of as an innovation manager? You have a crazy machine or technology that you are dreaming of developing?
I think we are already doing that.
Okay.
I think the Trimclean machine is one of the machines that I'm most hopeful about, with a lot of potential. Textiles is one of the biggest markets in the world, so it has a lot of potential for the company and also for the team working on it. It's a really nice project with a very we really work on sustainability. It's a nice story to work on. So that's one of the projects I'm most enthusiastic about.
Okay.
The Trimclean technology, being able to sort complex streams of materials. Yeah.
Okay, so we will share that enthusiasm with you as well, and repeat it again. The Trimclean, looking for customers. If anyone of you is listening, please contact us. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you, Maurits, very much for sharing your view on innovation and your personal story. Definitely, we will launch a blog post on that as well on our website www.Ellie.Connect.com/episode19. So definitely follow that. To all the listeners today, thank you for popping in. And if you have any remarks, questions to Maurits about the Trimclean, you can find them on the platform as well. So please keep following, liking. Thank you, Maurits. I wish you very good luck for the future of the circular economy and all the innovations. And to all of you, again, please follow Ellie.Connect.com for more information and more inspiring stories. Thank you all. Bye.